Alrighty. Hey, it looks like we're into it. Can you get a sound check here? Yeah, hey, can you guys hear Keen all right? Last time, apparently he was coming in a little echoey. Might have been my fault.
10 people in the chat already, man.
It's just a bunch of bots, dude. But hey, thank you, Maris, for following before we even went live. Sounds good. Hazardous says you sound good. Oh, I do want to fix that, though, as well. The chat box looks super dumb. I messed with something, and I don't know why it's so big. So big. It's a huge, huge text. Okay. Should be better now. Chat is huge. Pre-draft hype. Yeah, that's right, everybody. Today, what we are here to talk about is the draft for Season 3. It's going to be very exciting. There's been a lot of changes that I'll just briefly recap. We'll talk a little bit about where teams are standing. I want to look at the rosters with you, Keen, like what the teams are actually bringing in to the draft, because unlike Season 1, where there were no teams, Season 2, where there was very little team disruption, player mobility, like that just didn't exist. Season 3, the rosters all look very, very different. We have completely different roster sizes. We have different wallets. We have so many different variables to consider as we go into this draft. So I want to talk about that. And then once we look at that, I want to look at the free agent pool pretty briefly with you. I think past experience has shown that we can go way too deep and talk for way too long about just one or two players. But I want to get your take on who the hot players are going to be for this season's draft. And then I want to do a mock draft with you. Not going all the way down, but maybe like the first top 5 players that we can kind of maybe both agree on and see how the teams and what we predict their bidding habits are going to be. So I'm really pumped. Is there anything particular that you're excited about with this draft coming up?
I mean, I just love a little preseason draft, regardless of if it's CPL, the team reveals or whatever. It's always a fun thing. So I just little warm fuzzies in my tummy. I love it.
We got warm fuzzies in Keen's tummy, everybody. Mission accomplished. Okay, well, let's go ahead and check out the draft format. So this is the wrong spreadsheet. This is also the wrong spreadsheet. I have way too many spreadsheets. But let's go ahead and look at the draft. So if you have or you care to pay attention to the master sheet, this is all uploaded currently in the master sheet. There is a tab for the Skull draft. The signups have been closed. And if there's anyone that happens to come up on the net in like the next 3 hours, let me know. I can add them to the free agent pool, but I feel like there's been adequate notice and reminders. So that's kind of where we're at on that. A few changes to this season's draft. First and foremost, in order to prevent any type of going in debt that we saw in season 1, or odd situations when we get towards the end of the draft with budgets, everyone is going to have a maximum bid that they're permitted to give per player. And what that maximum bid is the amount of money they have minus how many players are available. So that no matter what, they will always have at least one SCU buck to bid for a player throughout the entirety of the draft. This will ensure that there's no debt issues. This will ensure that teams are paying attention to their money so they don't overbid and then they run out of money and it gets weird. And it also ensures that every player will still get drafted onto a team. So that's change number 1. Change number 2 is that the contracts. So last season, the contract extensions at the time of the draft were 10 SCU and 20 SCU, and that addition was added to your player price. Well, since then, we've implemented the player inflation for the player salaries, and we've also seen some of the effects of player mobility, player costs, and the stable amount of cash that's being influxed in the economy. So what we're doing is we're changing the season 3 contract and season 4 contract to 5 and 10. This makes it still a valuable thing to do, even with the opportunity to extend season over season for 10% of the cost or whatever. And this price is not being added to the player price. So it's a one-time cost and then it's done. That's their contract type moving forward. As far as the advantages that were present in season 2, those are going to continue. So for example, the very first draft pick will only be the lower 2 seeds. So we'll have Unhinged with the blind. They'll pick the very first player to be drafted, and they'll only be competing against Legion for the very first player. For the second draft pick, the blind continues to move in reverse seed order, and Chaos will enter the draft pick. So for player number 2, Legion will be able to pick that player, and only those 3 teams will be able to bid. Then Savage will enter the bidding, Chaos will have the blind, and the rest of the draft will go on as normal. And yeah, Nightcat, it's kind of like a signing bonus. That's a really great way of putting it. So that's how the draft is going to look. One thing that we also are seeing in the draft is Ozzy. Ozzy is highlighted orange because he is the only player in the free agent pool that is going to be drafted with the resignation penalty associated with him, right? So if he is drafted, he will not be able to play for the the what do you call it? First 2 weeks of the season. And Mevius, that's a great point. So Mevius is asking a question. You can see it above my head. Never mind, I won't repeat it. But no, it doesn't. Right? And so technically, you still shouldn't. You can't really become negative because you can bid your max bid all the way until the end. And if you don't have cash to extend, then you just can't extend. It'll be a thing that you just can't do because it's after the bid. So you would just get the default 2 seasons. But good question. Good question. All right. So that's the changes to the draft format. Any comments on that, Keen? It's not too crazy. I think it's just little tweaks.
Yeah, it sounds all good to me.
Yeah, very exciting. As far as the free agent pool, we have 54 players in the free agent pool. That
way more than I was expecting. Even with the players whose contracts weren't renewed, I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how many of these are new versus old. I didn't scrub that, but I probably should and see kind of what we're looking at because there is a good handful of new players. But I think even with just the mobility of the contracts and that system the way it is, we should always have enough. And Mevius, back to your point, because I know you're still talking about total cost. What I do need to do, because I did fix the formula to negate the previous formula, but what I didn't do was I do need to change it. There'll need to be an additional cost that gets tallied up. So that'll be an after the fact thing. Well, it can't be. Okay. No, you're not wrong. So like logically it makes sense, but you did point out a fact that I need to come back and fix the formulas in here so that it gets taken away from their funds remaining immediately upon the contract extension. Okay. Let me actually just make a note. All right, I'll come back and fix that.
You know how so like there's like obsession in back rooms, and there's this big there's like this new wave of horror movies. They should make a horror movie just about spreadsheet management.
They should. Actually, I think they have it and I'm living it, and it's called Corporate Life.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of there's plenty of nightmares already existing about spreadsheets and getting through them on a day-to-day basis. That would be an absolutely terrifying movie, and I wouldn't watch it. Okay, let's go ahead. So that's the draft format. Let's go ahead and move on from this. Let's go ahead and look at the rosters. This is what I'm really curious about, and you can get a little bit of a sneak peek here because on here we are tallying up the current player counts that each team has and the amount of money they have. But I kind of want to look at the individual players and get an idea of where each team is sitting prior to the draft itself. So if we come over here and we look at Savage, you can see they have 181 SCU bucks. When we look at the draft, you can see here their maximum bid was 127, and that's taking into account having $1 remaining as the players get drafted. But they are coming in with a whopping 23 players. So they have the lowest amount of SCU bucks, but they have already a full roster. And this is a roster that has already taken 2 titles home throughout Skull Season 1 and Skull Season 2. Now, Keen, you're on this team. I don't know if there's been any discussions about going into the draft, but what do you expect, or what is the strategy you think is going to happen, or what would you do for your team with the lowest amount of money and already a solid amount of players? Like, what's the idea here?
So yeah, I mean, I think Mick has talked to us about this, right? And the intention was clear from the get-go. It's that we've obviously been very successful, and we've all been together for 2 seasons now, and like everyone here, it feels like a cohesive team, like a community in and of itself. So I like that. I like that Mick wanted to preserve this and just see how long it can go. Um, like he actually convinced me I was going to step down and just like quit the whole league, but he he like asked me to stay, and
He's very
um,
persuasive.
Yeah, like, and I like that. I like the fact that he wants to keep like the community aspect of it going. I think that's pretty cool. Um, I am a little worried. I think that everyone here is going to be still active, but like we have such a disparity in Scubucks going to the draft. It is worrying. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I think like our lineup can still stand up to any lineup. Like if our best 20 play against anyone else's best 20, even given the current free agents, I think we could still win any match, but like I don't know.
It's
It's a little
tough, right?
unnerving.
It's so tough.
Yeah.
I guess it'll get a little bit more clear as we go through kind of the mock draft because at least last season there were some really big takeaways that I took from that we saw kind of play out when the actual draft occurred. And what I expect is going to happen with Savage is they're not going to be able to really get the best players that are in the free agent pool. But what I think, if I was Team Savage, what I would be thinking is next season, right? You already have a very, very strong team, but you have a very expensive team. The reason why you don't have any
Mhm.
Scubucks is because of these player costs that are from earlier seasons and the inflation that is hitting them at kind of an exponential amount compared to the other team rosters. And so if I was Mick, what I'd be looking to do is pad this as much as possible with the cheapest players I could get. Deny the other teams the maybe the lower level players and look for bodies for at budget, right? So maybe towards, there's
Yeah.
54 players in the draft, maybe just take the losses early on and then pick up a bunch of players at the end once you have a strong understanding of everyone else's wallets, how they're approaching it, and go for it that way. But it's really interesting. And then yeah, Nightcat, you have a great point too. Maybe it's time to find a caster, right? Maybe it's time to find someone that just likes to grind the SKU tournaments. Find someone that is going to get those bucks and earn revenue for the team out of sight of the league.
Mhm. Yeah, totally agree. I we do need I would like to have at least 30 players. I think I think it's just necessary to just save the money for like lower level picks. If we can get some like decent C to B rank players for next to nothing, that would be great. But like, I think we need at least 30 players, um, which should be totally doable even with our budget, given that there's 54 players in the draft. Um, but yeah, I feel like there's no possible way we're going to get someone that's like at the tippity top of the skill. But like,
At least if you do, then you're not going to have the same team that you have for season 4, right? So it kind
yeah.
of depends. Like, do we want to keep this going for as long as possible, or do we want to start the rebuild already? Because looking at this roster, I think your take is correct. I think going into season 3, Savage has such a strong foundation that they could still be very competitive or maybe even take a third season in a row. I don't think that that's outside the realm of possibility. But, and you can't really see it because it's behind the Seagull's head. But if you look at the season 4 cost, the roster as is without contract extensions is already 1,808 SKU. And if you remember, each season there's an inject of 1,200 SKU plus 250 for the prestige. So 1,450 SKU. So if we just want to keep this and not go forward, not even including contract extensions, Mick is going to have to earn an additional 358 SKU bucks outside of tournament play or league play.
Mhm.
That's going to be tough to do.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think probably the biggest thorn on our side right now is Mazer and Nomad, who like I'm not trying to denigrate them as players, but their costs are very inflated just because of
Oh,
the
yeah.
season two draft. Um, like look at Doodle for example. Doodle is definitely, if not the best player, certainly in contention for the best player in the entire league, and he is 125. And Mazer and Nomad are like 230, 241.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Doodle is
so
pound for pound like the best bargain that exists. And if I were Mick, right, like we don't need to go too deep because I know we have still three other teams to talk and the draft mock draft that we want to do. But Doodle, like if I was Mick, there's a few players in this list that I would try to extend forever, like just
Mhm.
ride them out for as long as possible.
100% agree. And I also agree about the caster thing. Like, I, I will say, I think maybe not in this podcast, but at some point I would like to talk about possible ways to increase opportunities for SCU books. But like, we've already seen based on my solo upload that I need someone to co-cast with me. So I need someone to like handle, I need a handler. So if we can get
You need to be escorted. Yeah, you need a mod.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. That's for another time. That was we've already talked about it. But yeah, I think Savage is strong. If I were to power rank them right now, pre-draft, obviously their roster is the largest, it's the most consistent, and it's a double season victor roster, right? Like these people show up, they participate, and they win. Um, I think that Savage is definitely. I don't think that. I think if they lose the draft, which we can look and analyze here in a bit, uh, I don't think they're going to be third place. I think this is at minimum a second place team.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to win again this season, but I do think we're going to do well.
All right, let's go ahead and look at Chaos. Chaos, our number 2 seed, 518 SCU bucks. Not bad. This is, what, 3.5 times what Savage had.
Hmm.
Now, when it comes to player count, this is where we start seeing some disparity. 23. Savage is bringing 23 back from season 2. Chaos is only bringing 19. Now, that's still almost a complete roster. If they wanted, they could take all their cash and throw it at some of the top players. And now we've seen this team perform really well. I think season 2 was a very strong season for them. Them and Legion were neck and neck throughout the whole thing. They ended up taking up that number 2 slot after a really fun season. Where do you think their strategy should be? I think, I gave my take on Savage. I think they should be rebuilding for season 4, already kind of thinking ahead to who am I going to drop? How much money am I going to have? What do you think Chaos should be doing with the new captain, G5?
Yeah, so their lineup actually looks quite weak to me, to be honest. Tim is obviously a really good top player, also very overpriced, but I think they're going to need to get at least like one or two other like heavy hitters in this draft to really position themselves as like potential second place even. And uh, I don't know. I mean, it's going to be hard because the other two teams have quite a budget. Um, I think they also need to save some money for just rounding out their roster with like solid, um, like the again, like Manadog pointed out, there's 120 about 120 players total, so teams should average 30 to 31 players. And yeah, like with 21 with 20 matches every week, like you just need that padding to be able to be competitive. So not only are they going to need a couple really good players to be competitive in those first matches every week, but like they're going to need quite a few just like mid-range to low-range even players.
I agree with your take. I think Chaos is potentially, even after having a phenomenal season 2, and I'm saying this with, I mean, I'm looking at the crystal ball, reading the tea leaves. I think this might be a bad season for Chaos. Now, there's a couple good things that are going on. I think there are several players on Chaos that are kind of having upward trajectories. One that comes to mind is Anderson. I think towards the end of season 2, during the preseason, in his preparation for UPL land, he's improved a ton, right? He took a game off of
Mm.
Ozzy last night during the show match. This is someone that is one example that I've happened to be able to witness the Ascension arc. There's players like that are really tapping in and using G5 for these coaching opportunities, right? G5 has come over to Chaos. People are asking him questions. He's giving thoughtful answers. There's some inter team practicing going on. And so Chaos is kind of, in my opinion, a wild card for this season. They could either continue and keep like that second place, but as we're going to get into the other teams, we're going to see the wallets that they have. I think, they are at an inflection point. Hey, thanks for the sub, Indo. Really appreciate it. Um, but yeah, so Chaos, I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on. And even if they just get a solid mid-range team, I'm really curious about the chemistry that they've built on that team to get like coaching, to get like inter-team practice. They've been probably the most active team when it comes to StarCraft discussion going on. Champion, thanks. All of this goes straight to the prize pools as well. Really appreciate it. But yeah, that's really the biggest thing I have to say about that. I think coming into the draft, this is the middle of the road team. Chaos has a decent amount of cash. They have a decent sized roster, and they have good chemistry. So the parts are there, but I think there's going to need to be a little bit of luck on their side to maybe be a number one place team.
Yeah, agree. Um, I don't really have anything else to say. Yeah, I think G5 is going to be a good captain in the long run. I talk to him pretty often about that stuff, but I'm not sure it's going to pan out this season.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's go on and look at Unhinged. Now, Unhinged has been in kind of a rut. The past 2 seasons, they've ended up as the number 4 seed. Now, after season 2 or after season 1, they had the opportunity during season 2 for the early draft picks. We saw that definitely help them out. They were one of only 2 losses that Savage had during the round robin phase in season 2. So they had a team. What was kind of killing them was the number of bodies. They weren't able to field the full roster every week, and that kind of hit them hard when it came to the forfeits. Now, looking at their roster, they have 10 people. So they have half a team. So what that means is that we are going to see an unhinged team coming into this season that is not the unhinged we knew. This unhinged team that's going to come in, these are going to be players that were from Legion, that were from Chaos, that are going to bring those experiences, the things they learned from those teams, and maybe even some new free agents. There's some strong ones out there that this team is going to be able to pick up, both with the early draft picks and with the SKU bucks that they have. Memnon does have a cost. I don't know why the roster looks this way, but I'll fix that.
Yeah. I mean, full stop. They just need to. It doesn't even matter. I think they're like strong players. Like they have Wolfix, they have Remap. If they could get like another top kind of player, that would probably be it for the like really high level players. Other than that, they just need people. They just need players. I would probably try to like splurge on one of the best players in the draft and then just go for like bodies. Just get like try to do competitive bids on any kind of like decent player, like any B rank player, any C rank player that you think could win in their like in their position in the lineup. Really, yeah.
I agree.
They just need a lot of people.
Well, they need a lot of people, right? But if you think about it, let's quickly. I want to go back to the trap because I think Unhinged is a really interesting case study, and my pick for them is actually second place or third place. Like I think if a draft strategy goes out how I think it might, this is going to be a very strong team. What I want to show here is something pretty interesting. So let's say they just go for 10 players. Let's say everyone just goes for the 20 player minimum. There's going to be extras, but for the case of argument, let me just do this. So 1 player for Chaos, 10 for Unhinged. That's 11 plus 3, 14. Or actually, better yet, let's do it the other way. Let's do 54. And then if we look at it, they have 853 SKU bucks. So without doing a bunch of math in public, my point that I was going to try to make is they aren't driving costs up, right? So when it comes to getting those top tier players, they're competing with people that cannot compete back. And they can win those players at a very low price relative to the prior 2 seasons, right? Because one of the things that we were looking at going into this season was that the prices are going to adjust. There's just not enough SKU for the number of players. And a lot of the SKU is tied up in these really expensive players, which Unhinged has some, right? Wolfix, Remap, these are over 200 SKU buck players. But in general, the only other team that has this kind of cash is Legion. And so if they're really only competing against one other team, they're going to be able to get some of these top tier players for a fraction of the cost that we're seeing, Wolfix, who are some of these really expensive ones, Mazer, Nomad. And so their bang per buck is going to go a lot farther in this particular draft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally agree.
If it's
Yeah.
executed right.
Well,
If they go out there
yeah.
and
I
they throw
mean,
$700 on Dragon, like maybe that's not the best strategy.
yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I guess we have to. Yeah, like the real interesting part of the draft, I think, and we can touch on this more when we get to the Legion, is how Unhinged and Legion bid against each other for those really strong players. Because I think that's really where the strong players are all going to go to those two, probably.
Yes. Well, at least the very first two, right? Like those
Yeah.
very first
Oh,
two
yeah.
draft
By
picks.
definition.
Yeah, and it's gonna be just so exciting. Now I remember, in season 2 when we kind of did it and we game theoried it a little bit. It almost seems in the best interest, maybe we can play around with it this time, to not pick your absolute favorite player in that first pick. Right? Get the other person to spend some money on maybe the third best or something like that, and then sweep in after that cash has been boiled down a little. I don't know. It's really tough. I don't envy the captains. This is a lot of work and thought. Let's go
Hmm.
ahead and check out Legion. Oh, and like my prediction for Unhinged was second or third place. Like I do not think that they're going to be a fourth place team unless Chaos ends up getting that luck that they're looking for.
Hmm. So you're predicting
Legion,
the Chaos will be fourth then?
I think so. I think it's really tough to tell at this point because these teams are undergoing so much rebuild. If Savage ends up in fourth place, I think that would be pretty unlikely. And so if I'm just trying to limit myself to two placements per team, I would say Chaos third, fourth, maybe Unhinged third, fourth. But I really think they might have a shot for second, third. If they draft the way I think they should be able to beat Savage. So gosh, it's really really tough. But Legion is the team I have my eye on. So if I'm coming in
Hmm.
here and kind of power ranking, I think Legion has the best position going into the draft. They have strong players. They have a lot of players. They got 17, and they have almost 1,000 SKU bucks going into this draft. And that reminds me, is this not the right? I must have updated it in like the wrong sheet or something. Manadog,
I
remind me
was
how
like a
much you
little
cost.
off.
I'll double
Yeah.
check all this, but
I think we get
it,
the gist of it though, right?
well, it's the captain prices. I went through and adjusted captain prices, but I might have done that specifically on a wrong sheet. I think he's like 42 or something. I don't know if he's still around. But anyway, I think Legion is set. Like this is their
Hey, for
season
real.
where they could sweep, right? They got
Dog is
Mars.
almost as expensive as I am. That
Yeah, there
feels
we
a little
go.
hurtful. Not gonna lie.
Feels a little hurtful. I need to. Oh, you know what? I need to adjust it on the main sheet. Shit. All right, whatever. I'll go fix all this later. But anyway, yeah. Look at these prices. These are reasonable prices. We've got players
Yeah.
like Dopa, who I think has like climbed his way up to C, B rank, going for 18. Right? He was a little bit
Oh
of an
yeah.
unknown. We've got Tom sub 100. These are really strong players. Mars is their only inflated player. They didn't go. I don't
Yeah.
think Legion went crazy on extensions. They saved up, and then with between Mana's casting and some of the other casting that has gone on with this team, I think they. I did the math earlier for G5. I think they have like 250 bucks just from casting. So they are
Yeah.
rich. They already have strong bones, and they're low enough seed because their performance kind of lacked in season 2. They ended up third seed, where they're gonna be able to have the opportunity to pick up some of the best
Which,
players that are available.
by the way, I think the seed. I mean, I feel like they actually win more from the seeding than Unhinged does because I feel like they were neck and neck with Chaos. Like they were almost. It could have gone either way. I really, truly think it could have gone either way. So they're
Yeah,
the big winners in this draft. And Manadog. is like the captain, like MVP because of all the casting that he's done, all the funding that he's gotten. That's crazy. Um, oh,
Yeah,
G5. So
G5.
the seating,
We should probably have a quick little sit down, G5, to go over this. Seating in the draft. So I already kind of mentioned it, but the very first draft pick, the only two teams participating are the lower two seeds. And there's a blind that goes reverse seed order. So the one with the blind, in this case, will be unhinged, will nominate the first player to be bid. So let's say they bid for Ozzy, right? So we'll drag Ozzy over here. They'll bid on Ozzy between Unhinged and Legion. And if there's a tie, the team with the blind takes the player. Then it'll go to the second round. The blind will move in reverse seed order. It'll go to Legion. Three teams will bid on it. Then Savage will jump in, and it just continues that way all the way down, right? So that's what the blinds do, and that's what being lower seed. It's a little bit of a catch-up mechanic. How that helps you in subsequent drafts. Okay, so back to Legion though. Yeah, their position is very very strong. I'm looking at their roster. You know the big standouts in my mind: Tom, Mars, but their middle of Pandor, Javi, right? Like it's not a chump team. And you're
no, it's
right.
pretty decent. GG No Re 13, I think, is like
Oh
high
yeah.
B low A too. Yeah, it's a decent team, and I think they have by far the most money. So it'll be interesting to see how they make it work for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Um,
very curious. I want to simulate it. You want to do that?
yeah, I maybe I can ask Claude to do it. Um,
Yeah, by the way, if you guys weren't paying attention in the general chat in the school thing, there was a lot of just like using the StarCraft Underground website, which has been updated by the way since that was going on. You can see here like it said 4007 or something. Now all 4243 great games are up in the website. But Keen and I think Sony were playing with AI to like parse the website for information, and it was spitting out some pretty interesting things. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead. What was you want Claude to do the simulation for you?
yeah, I think it's run its course for now. I would have to give it some extra data sets for some accurate information because the site itself, I mean, it was fun, but yeah, it has no idea. It was like really reaching for information. It even, the funny thing is, it actually was like, hey, like APM isn't really a good skill indicator, but like in so many words, it was like, this is all I have to go off of. So I'm gonna go off of like activity and APM. And it was like recommending players because they had a lot of APM.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's not a whole lot of data points, but I do think the interesting thing about the website that it might be able to help you with is pairings, matchups. You know, like will this player do well against this player based on both of their match history that's in the website. I think that might be a pretty powerful tool, but we'll see.
Hmm.
Um, okay, so before we go into the simulation, I think you and I, because I don't want to simulate the whole draft, I kind of just want to look at the top few picks. I'm very, very curious about who you think the top players are going to be in this draft. And I made a short list as well, but as I was going through it, I realized how little I know about a lot of these players. So I'm
Right.
curious about what you're thinking because you're a lot more acquainted with the higher skill level players.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So, yeah, I also made a little list. I don't know if you want to put, do you have a, this isn't the whole draft, is it? Is did you know? Oh no, I'm sorry, I missed saw.
Yeah,
Okay,
this
yeah,
is
yeah, I
everyone.
see. Okay, so there are, I'll say five standouts. I was going to say like in no particular order, but for the top five, there's like a top three and then the next two. Um,
Okay.
the top three definitely by far the best three players in this draft. Dragon,
Okay.
I think definitely the best. Dexter 13, and then Rosovi. Um, Dragon, Dexter 13, both Protoss players,
Oh,
if you're
he's early.
unfamiliar. Dexter 13 is maybe a little lesser known of these three, I think. his name seems a little kind of random if you're unfamiliar with the scene, but he's like, I think he's Bulgarian. He's a Protoss. He touches S rank. He's solid like high A rank always. Um, he's like a ladder warrior, very active, but like doesn't chat on Discord very much. Um, I think he's definitely one of the best players. Dragon, I think everyone probably knows him because he's been around for forever.
Yeah.
Canadian Protoss. Um, Also not super active on Discord, but he's like ever present and one of the top foreigners of all time for sure. Um, and then we have Rosovi, who has been getting more active in the last few years, I think. I'm sure he's played a long time, as most of us have. Polish Terran. So he's maybe the least of these top three, but still very formidable. I think he was in BSL Pro League this season. And he could definitely go toe to toe with either Dexter or Dragon. Maybe it would be like a 60-40 for the Protosses, but like he's still crazy good. And then the bottom two of this top five, I would say, are Exit and PBJT.
I don't want to do that color.
Um,
It's a different color.
I think Exit, both Exit, like so, it's actually a good thing that Exit got off of his team. I think it's a boon for Unhinged because they probably won't bid on him again, but like he's very good, but I don't think he was worth the price that they bid on him. He was
Mm.
definitely just inflated in cost. But
I think
Exit
he's
and
like
PBJT,
180 or something like that. He was very expensive going into season
yeah.
two.
So they're both very good players, but they're not like going to rock anyone's world. They're not like, oh, I'm putting this guy against like Doodle or something, so I'm like pretty confident he's going to win. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. Well,
But
I think these players that you picked make a lot of sense. They're very interesting, especially the top three, because we've been looking at Doodle, right, and Wolfix and G5, who's not playing in the season; he's just captaining, but they've been very dominant presence throughout the seasons, and having someone that can go toe to toe with them, potentially not ending up on Savage, might upset their entire lineup. We saw that a little bit, right, where you're outmatched in one, it kind of has a trickle down effect. So
yeah,
very interesting.
yeah, you have if you have two of those players that could go toe to toe with Doodle or something, then it's going to like the next player is going to just like smash the second place in the roster or something potentially. Um, I have other players in like a lower tier, I guess a third tier.
Yeah. Who do
But
you got?
what are your thoughts on the top five
Yeah.
or the
Well,
top?
I made a little spreadsheet, and I didn't know. And like when I was going through this, I started to realize like how little I knew. So I made kind of like one giant list. I was gonna do like top 10. I ended up making like a top 11. Um, and I tried to order them, but I wouldn't put too much thought on these. Here, hang on one second. My dog is literally trying to like break down my door. Just give me one quick sec.
Okay.
I'm literally the worst streamer ever. All right, anyway, got the dog. So in I knew Dragon was the best one, in my opinion, and then the rest are kind of like a mix. I don't really know. Ozzy, very good, very helpful. He can also do some casting, right? He's shown interest
Yeah.
in trying to coach people, right? So I think there's a lot of value to pick him up as a player, but he's got that resignation penalty as well. So I don't know how that's going to be
Hmm.
valued. The next one, why Sion? She is. I only know her by reputation. Apparently, a very strong Zerg player. Kind of does it all. Does StarCraft 2 and Brood War. I think she might be a sleeper. I don't think she's been talked about a ton in the free agency, but a very very strong player. I also agreed with Rizawi and Dexter, so I won't elaborate on that too much. Ivaniox, I didn't know about him until he signed up for the free agency, and then I saw him streaming. I just like happened to notice him streaming on Twitch, and so like I checked in on there. It seemed like a very strong player, so I was like, okay, probably a little bit above the rest of the bulk of the players in the league. Love
I didn't even
Snow.
know he streamed. I got to keep an eye on that because
I'd never seen him
love him.
stream until like I saw the name. Maybe he's been streaming all the time. I had no idea, and it was something random. It was like BGH or something like that, right? But I was like, okay, this is
Yeah.
someone with really strong fundamentals. They seem to definitely know what they're doing. That's about as far as my analysis went, and then I got hungry and went and ate a pizza. But then there's Love Snow, who's obviously a really good Terran, but I kind of rank him a little bit lower because I don't know what participation is going to look like, right?
Hmm.
I put Goose in there because he's very active, also a strong player. PBJT as well, similar reasons, very active, strong player. And then I have Vaynes and Exit down here, who probably from a straight up performance metric belong higher on this list. But Vaynes like didn't play last season. He played like one match, right? And so that's kind of a downside. And then we have Exit, who's kind of a loose cannon, right? Like the Unhinged team,
Yeah.
not a good fit. Potential drama associated there, but
Yes.
very, very good at StarCraft. And so this is kind of as far as I went. I don't know what your thoughts are. Like, maybe is anyone on this list? I guess my question would be not someone to think of as like a hot player for draft.
I think so. A lot of my second tier players, I guess, are the same. Like Exit and also Love Snow are kind of like similar in the sense that, well, like Exit, I think Exit, first of all, he works a lot. He has a very inconsistent schedule, as a postal man.
Yeah, so availability is an issue.
Yeah, and then he kind of roasts people the wrong way often, through all the fault of his own. Um, Love Snow just has inconsistent sobriety and hygiene.
Well, we don't need to talk
So
about any of that, but like when it comes to availability, right? Like that's kind of the point you're making.
yeah, I think they might be a little on the flakier side.
Yeah, which I think is
Um,
something to keep in mind, right? And that's why like I rated Vaynes pretty low. Performance wise, very, very strong player. Same thing with, Exit, like and some of these other players so high, right? Like I think Goose, PBJT, like strong, and they're gonna show up. And I think
yeah,
that goes a long way.
honestly, PB super good guy. But he often doesn't play in tournaments like this, so I don't even know how reliable he will be for the weekly matches. But he's a really good guy. He's a really good Zerg, and he would definitely be a boon to any team that had him. Um, other players, I'm just going to go through my list of like the second tier players
Yeah,
that I
let's
think
go.
would be
Let's
a lot of
go
value picks.
deeper in your list. Let me
Um,
hit the right sheet. I want to color code yours.
so I have Goose, Vaniax, Kim Jeffrey, Lev Snow, Y Sion, Ozzy, Vahens, and River.
Okay, we had a very similar list then. I'm not even going to go through because you basically said everything
Yeah,
with the exception of River, who I had over here as someone I know is good, but I don't really recall how good. I kind of had it
yeah.
for these
River is
three
like,
players.
I think River is like B rankish, and then Kim Jeffrey also, who's on the next column.
Yeah, I put him over here.
He's like solid B rank. Maybe can touch like A rank. Um,
Okay. Do you know
yeah,
Deadweight at all? I actually legit
no,
gauged him because he had Nom in his name, and I'm
I have
like,
no idea,
Nom
but I
Nom filters for skill, don't they? Or are they
oh
the ones that took everyone? I forget.
hard disagree. Hard disagree on no. Nam is
Maybe it was Urk I was thinking. I don't remember. Well, I knew one of them. Champion
yeah
says Nom
no.
filters for skill.
Champion is being sarcastic.
Oh, it's Knacker. That's the clan it was. That's a skill clan. Okay, my bad. My bad. Had the wrong the wrong one. Okay, so
I'm
River.
sorry. Yeah. Um. Yeah. River. Skeltox. Also, I heard last season Skeltox was pretty decent, but he joined Savage and just never showed up
I
even
was gonna
once.
say
So
I remembered looking, and I'm pretty sure Celtox was just like never played. He might have been an inactive drop actually.
He
Yeah, like
was,
I'm not
yeah.
even seeing league matches on the names registered there.
I
So
felt kind of bad because I actually like I was told that he only speaks Spanish, he doesn't speak English,
he
and
speaks good
he
enough
like
English. I've talked to him on voice chat before.
oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, like the first week of our like sign up, um, he like reacted with emoji to our sign up announcement, but like it was the wrong emoji. So I actually DM'd Mick and I was like, hey, I think he actually wanted to sign up, but like he just misunderstood. But then he just never showed up, so I was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Who else do you think is maybe next level? So I think we hit everyone. You never mentioned. I think Wisconsin is the one person
What
we didn't
Sion
overlap on.
is really good. Last I saw, she was getting up to like definitely hitting like the low A ranks and stuff. And she was a really good StarCraft 2 player. So she has that kind of like legacy talent.
Yeah.
I don't know how active she is right now, but I think she could definitely be like a bargain mid-range pick for sure.
One of the cool things
Even
about her
inactive, I think she's
too.
probably. Oh, what's up?
Well, I was just saying she's joining brackets, right?
Oh,
So like
cool.
she's currently level 1, definitely probably a level 3 player. You're going to get some SKU bucks from her, right? Like maybe just a few from the brackets, but that's not nothing over time. So definitely something there. Any other names that we think? So Naka had bounced up to level 3, came back down to level 2. I initially had him over here. I think Celtox is probably going down to the next level. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I should orient you to my levels. So I had my list, the next list where I think they're really good, but I wasn't sure. The bulk of the population participate, but these are the players that are normally in like the newbie tournaments, the tier 3s and 4s in CPL that I'm aware of. This group over here, I don't know any of them. These are kind of like some
Yeah.
of the newer players.
So all I know Future and I know Violet. Violet was she used to cast quite a bit. She went by Doc Holiday back in the day. Um, she probably like C rank, maybe low B
Okay.
rank when she was active. Um, and Future is another kind of like maybe a worse version of Love Snow, like very fueled by alcohol and unreliable, but like low B rank.
Okay.
Naka, I wasn't sure about Naka because I'm not sure how active he is, but he's also like a B rank guy. I wasn't sure if I should put him on my like second tier.
I wasn't sure either, and then I started like doing some of the research in like the website, and it was kind of all over the place. There was like a second name. I got a little confused. I haven't looked at it since it's refreshed. Um, but yeah, Naka, a strong player, shows up. I don't remember having watched or casted any of his games or anything, so little unknown. What about any of these other ones? Silky, I think, has been around, um, but I don't remember skill
I'm
level.
gonna be
But the
honest,
rest,
I just have no idea about
yeah,
any
and
of
then
those.
Igor has, I think, signed up but didn't play a single match. Signed up again. I don't think really has participated in any tournaments. Might be a time zone issue if I remember right. Might be either in Russia or like somewhere on that side of the world, so it might be a little bit more of a challenge. But yeah, some of these players I just don't know.
Yeah, those ones are going to be the real wild cards. Um, but I think any of these ones, even on the third tier, will be like good pickups because, I mean, like a lot of them, um,
Thanks,
like
phasers.
the AI, I filled in all of the data from the site with Claude today, and like Rice Hat, Strum Carlin, I feel like Renak, like Indo, a bunch of these players were picked because they were active and they showed up, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have players like exactly like Melodved, right? I think Sacrificial Lamb for season 2.
Even Maniac was Claude picked Maniac as one of the top picks.
Yeah, like these are great. And like showing up and being persistent and being active and having so like these are the players, right, that like Team Chaos, when I look at Team Chaos and I look at some of the players that they have and the ascension arcs that they've had, this is the opportunity. If you have that team chemistry, the dedication to maybe practice for some of this stuff, invest a little bit in the players on your team. These are the types of players that you can pick up for super cheap and get enormous mileage out of. You pick up these players for like 2 SCU buck, 3 SCU buck, and they get 1 or 2 wins. They've more than paid for themselves, right? Like that's the talent. Like I think over on this side, if you find those players, you're going to be in a really good spot. And also, I'm getting in the chat, Phasers is talking about old school Widow, IC Cup, friggin' beat Ivanox 2-0 easily. So Widow might be. I'm trying to
Interesting. I've
remember who
never heard
was
of
the
them
one
before.
player that we talked about a lot. I don't season 1 or season 2 came out of nowhere. No one knew who they
Uh,
were.
um, Gosh, I forget now. He's on Savage.
Yeah, he's on
Static,
Savage.
Static.
Static. Yeah, Widow might be this season's Static, right? Like no one
Maybe,
knows
yeah.
them and just picked them up for cheap and just started dominating everybody.
Yeah, I have no idea. If Widow has any AKAs, throw them in the chat and maybe I'll recognize them. But
Yeah, very cool. So what about these other ones? So Igor, I've been around, I haven't seen him participate. Silky, I recognize the name, but I don't know, so I'm gonna put him there. What about these four?
so this is going to sound kind of like jaded, I guess, but like when I see any names that I just have no context for, don't recognize, I just assume that they're kind of bad.
I think that's the safe assumption, right? Like you can't go in there and be like, you know what, Desai reminds me of Dasani. I like
Yeah, like
water. I'm gonna drop
that's
100 SCU bucks on him. You know, like
straight from the springs of Indonesia, like
hell yeah.
top line water.
It's like one of the only waters I've seen that has like sodium in the ingredients. Yeah, it's good stuff. So like, okay, I'm actually pretty happy about this. We got to put Violet over here. I think right here is where we're going to see the bulk. These are your workhorses, right? These are the players that you dominate. Okay, so Mevius is coming in here saying Whiplash is actually S rank. Oh wait, hold on.
Yeah,
It's Mevius though. Mevius is saying
yeah.
that. Who did you say that about last time? You pulled this shit on us before, and it was just like not true.
Telecom is actually a sneaker pick because he can send your team top-notch weed.
If you haven't gotten a DM from him yet, you will. Where did I put him? Okay, so I'm glad you brought up Telecom because I'd actually heard through just the grapevine that he's actually really good.
Oh,
No,
who told you
I don't remember. This grapevine might have been dead. All right, I'm getting reports to size D rank
that?
because it's not Mevius. I consider it a credible source. So we'll put him. I think D rank. This is kind of ED. This is C to B-ish, and then everything else is like B and above. LML, that was another name I was curious about as well. I know very active in the community. That doesn't necessarily translate to skill. Look at me. I'm like the worst player that admins anything. But LML is pretty good, isn't he?
I think he's okay. I think he's potentially approaching like the bottom of the second tier, the second column in here.
Okay. Yeah, these aren't in order, by the way. These are just groupings. Yo, Nira's saying Whiplash is legitimately like BA.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so these
Check
two,
it
I'm
out.
really glad that we're doing this, and I love hearing the chat because there's so many people that know all these other players. Like many of these players came over here with friends, right? So
Okay,
anyway,
well,
a couple
cool. Yeah,
sleepers to
no,
pick on.
the Seawall account looks legit. Yeah.
Well, not only that, but like if captains are watching this, these might be players, prior to Friday that maybe you DM, right? Like if I was a captain and I had this list of unknowns, which I imagine the captains are doing something similar, right? Like this is my pick list. This is how I group them. I don't know who the fuck these players are. Like these are the players I'd be in their DMs being like, "Hey, yo, how good are you? Give me that seawall."
Yeah. I think it was Mutiler who DM'd me the first season actually and was like, "Hey, how active are you?" And I'm like, "No."
No. I'm just not. That's funny. Okay. No, this is fun. I think I'd like to simulate. We're already at an hour, but people are being active and I love talking about this stuff. So we'll do a quick simulation. I think we can probably get the point made or at least come up with some predictions on how the early picks will go with like the first five. So maybe we'll do the first five. I also did want to take this moment to remind everyone that is watching, if you're a part of the free agent pool, don't forget I put a form in the Discord in a few different places, but it's also in the sign up channel. If you would like a message to be displayed, and how it'll be displayed is when you're nominated, I'll have a comment over your name over here, and we'll read the comment out to the captains and the audience that's watching the draft, which usually pulls in a decent amount of people. So it can be a joke, it can be a message to captains like, "Hey, I'm off racing this season," or "Hey, I like long walks on the beach," or whatever the case may be. I don't care. It was a cool
Don't
idea.
don't go to Murder Mountain. Don't do it.
Don't go to Murder Mountain. I think people have already tried to rickroll me in the form. Good times, right? So just if you want something, go ahead and submit it. Yeah, you can put Keen loves beavers.
Beavers are really cool, actually. So
they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool. Okay, so let's go through. So let's say Unhinged and Legion. Who do you think Unhinged is going to nominate first?
I mean, I feel like it has to be. It has to be Dragon.
Now,
I
does it?
mean,
I feel like we're doing this again. We did this last time. Does it
yeah.
have to be Dragon?
Well,
They can't let Savage get Dragon. We know that. Savage only
no.
has a little bit of bucks though, so it's not a huge threat. Let's go with
I
Dragon.
feel
Let's
like
go with Dragon. He's the best player.
Dragon. Yeah.
He's too good. You gotta bid for him. Now, this is the tricky part because it just so happens our lowest 2 seed teams are the most rich. And the richest of both of them is Legion. So what dollar amount are you going to put here? Manadog can drop 920 bucks. Unhinged can go 799. Do you think Legion would put 800?
No.
No, they
There's
wouldn't.
no way that they would do that. I feel like Manadog has put in too much time to ruin his
I
chances
bet
like that.
Manadog has solid formulas for this and has probably asked 2 or 3 people to do wild analysis on the game theory here.
I think one of them might go up to like 300 or something, but I don't think anything past that. Like, I think Dragon might be the single most inflated player, and then we won't see any other player even approach that number.
But we've already seen the numbers when we look at these other rosters, right? These 200 players are killing these wallets. So do you think
Yeah.
if we look at the number of players, right? We have 54. Let's identify the average cost. So we have 54 in the free agent pool. We have 69, nice, players that are already rostered. I don't know if this accounts for G5 or not. It probably does. Yeah, it does. So let's remove G5 from it. So it's 68, less nice. So 68 plus 54, what is that? 122. So 122. This is how much money there is. 2310. So equals 2310 divided by 122. We're looking at 19 SKU per player if we average it out among all of the free agents. So how much is an expensive player worth here?
Uh, I truly think that Dragon is just an outlier here, and he's so good and he's so well known that I think someone's going to go hog wild and just like drop an insane amount on him.
Yeah, maybe you want someone to. Maybe if you're Legion, you're like, go ahead, Unhinged, drop your
Yeah.
whole wallet here, and I'll
No, I
go pick
think
up Dexter and Rozawi for free.
yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. What do you say? What do you say we do this? Let's pick something. Let's say a hyper expensive player in this league will be this even feels expensive. 150 SKU. Let's say let's make the assumption Mana did his homework. 151 gets Dragon.
Mhm.
Okay. So now they're still super rich. Chaos has entered the draft. Legion now gets their pick. They're feeling hot and wild. They just picked up Dragon. They're still they're now the second richest, right? Because we saw this dynamic in season 2. These first couple of picks are really weird because it completely changes the dynamic for like picks 4 through 7 because of all the money that's been spent by only the couple first teams, and it's usually a lot of money because they're the good players. So, who do you think Legion puts up next?
I would say Rosovi. I think Rosovi is really good and more well known. So
Okay. And we'll assume Dragon is the most expensive, unless there's some reason that we think a team might completely outbid another team's wallet. Um, what do you think here?
so here I think say Dragon does go to Legion. I think Unhinged might be desperate for just another like star player at that point, and they might even bid close to what Dragon got.
Okay. So let's say 152. Nah, let's go a little bit less. Let's go
Well,
145.
I was thinking like 130 compared to like 140 or something, but I don't know.
Okay, I mean, we just gotta spit it out. I remember last time when
Yeah.
we did this for season two, we spent like a half hour on the first two picks. I want to go a little bit deeper this time.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I think because Legion still has the cash, let's say they pick up these first couple of players, right? So these other numbers are irrelevant. Okay, so now even after the top two picks, Legion still is the second richest in the room. But now we've seen the dynamic shift where Unhinged can really start picking things up. Now, Chaos, I don't know if this is true, but this has been my gut based on the trade window that occurred. G5 has an idea of the personalities he wants on his team. I think of the captains, G5 might have a broad friend group in the high skill players. I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm talking out of my ass, but that kind of feels a little bit his style. Like he's getting his buddies together and they're going to go dominate some skull. Who do you think he's going to
Yeah.
pick from this list?
Um, hmm. Well, I know he knows exit in real life, and I see you there. He does know exit in real life, and he might be able to actually wrangle exit into being like a decent player and a reliable person on the team. So why don't we go with exit actually?
Okay. Now Exit's an interesting one because he's got such a big personality. The I think that if Chaos goes for Exit, that they'll likely pick him up for very cheap.
Yeah, I agree. Even though exit is pretty good at StarCraft, he's extremely unreliable. So I'm not sure how much. I mean, Unhinged certainly isn't going to bid much on him, right? Because they essentially kicked him.
Yeah, really weird. I think Exit might be an absolute bargain this season.
Yeah.
I
All
think
right.
so.
Well, I'm down to roll with that. Yeah. I mean, I don't
I
know
think
if
50 is a
Manadog can
good
handle
bargain
him.
for him. So let's go with 50. Chaos gets it. That's almost free for a player of Exit's caliber, I think. Maybe. We still got to see how the prices end up calibrating. Hopefully, they don't come out of the gate swinging too high. I was pleasantly surprised during season two. They came out the gate pretty calibrated among all the captains on what they were going to be bidding. I expected
Mhm.
the first few bids to kind of be the calibration zone, like one team bidding super high, another bidding super low, but they were pretty flat across the board. But the wallets are so different this time, so it's going to make it an interesting dynamic. All right, so
Yeah.
Savage. Who does Savage want? And I'm curious. This one's really interesting because Savage doesn't have much money. So they either got to
Yeah.
pick someone that they think will waste other people's money that they're not going to be upset to not get, or they're going to have to try to pick some people, I think, lower on the totem pole. I think this is probably the first time in these picks that we're going to skip skill and go for
hmm
something a little else. What are you thinking?
Yeah. I don't know if we're going to skip skill entirely, but I think maybe even someone like Love Snow would be a good
Mm,
nomination here because I feel like Love Snow actually has like a pretty positive reputation. He streams a lot. A lot of people know him.
yeah.
And so he might actually get like bid on more than you would expect from someone of his skill caliber. So maybe
So
just like
do you think Savage would go for that then? Like, do they
I
want
think
someone that they'll fight over? Is this like a other teams waste your money kind of pick?
I think it's another team's waste your money kind of pick. I don't think Savage is going to be like competitively bidding on anyone until pretty late in the draft when other teams are kind of like depleted as well.
Yeah. Interesting. So let's say this is a waste your money pick, right? So Savage is trying to get others to waste their money, and I think Love Snow's an interesting one. I would probably go a little bit lower in skill than Love Snow if I was going to have people trying to dump their wallets, because what I would do if I was Mick is the top 6 matches, right? The 3 matches on both sides, or whatever the format is. Let me double check the format. Yeah, so you have these 3 matches times 2, 6 matches where you get bonus, right? So if you want these other teams to waste money, you want the player that they're getting to be worse than your top 6, right? So who is that? Doodle, maybe Nomad, Static, right? Whatever the case is, Radley, that was a good draft or a trade as well. Like, you want to go down that, find that number 6 person, whoever it is. Let's say it's you, because you're the line of skill, right? If they're better than you, they're good. If they're not, then they're not. They want to be like, okay, who's just worse than Keen? I think that would be how to calibrate it.
Yeah. Love Snow.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're better than Love Snow?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so then who picks him up? Is this one of those like unhinged rebuild moments?
I think unhinged. Yeah, I would say unhinged. Let's
right.
say like 40.
40. It's not too much wasted money. Okay. So we're seeing some calibration and skill here. Now it goes back to unhinged. Unhinged is the one that we think is going to be going for bodies, and also, well, really bodies, but as good as bodies as they can get with the wallet they have. They're the richest right here. They could bid up to 120 SKU essentially.
Yeah.
More than anyone else. So they can save 120 SKU. They can go up pretty high. We're still in the realm of wallets where you can't go all in because you won't be able to afford them in the future or get more bodies. But they could definitely outbid others. Do you think they're going for Dexter?
I think they're going for Dexter because I just told them that Dexter is like the second best player.
So. Well, hey, we also learned that apparently Widow, Whiplash, all these static related type
Dexter's
players
better than both of those guys, for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so let's say Dexter goes out there. The only other team that can compete against them is Manadog. We've already given Manadog and Legion a couple of these. Let's say Unhinged wins this one. Let's say they dump some cash. What are we thinking? 100?
150. I think
Dragon
they really
cost?
want this one.
Okay.
I think they really want this one if they didn't get Dragon, yeah.
I think that makes sense, right? Because they already missed out on a couple of the top ones, which we saw season 2, if I'm not mistaken. I should have pulled up season 2. I have all that still saved. Oh, but I messed up the order. I don't have the order. I'd have to check the stream. But I do believe that they didn't pick up their first picks. So I think this is still pretty accurate to how it went last time. So they spent 150 on Dexter. They're now just barely second, and they've got a lot of cash to go. Let's go a couple more. Who does Legion want? Legion already sitting pretty. You got 2 of the strongest players. Who's next on the list? Are we starting to look at the Gooses in the world? We have these.
Probably PB. I would say PB. I think PB is still like a really strong pick, and I think he can be competitive. You might be able to, even with these current budgets, like you might still be able to get him for a reasonable amount of money.
Yeah, and I think that goes really well with some of the personalities too, right? Like PBJT plays with Pandor all the time.
Oh yeah.
So you get that combination as well. Now you got buddies that are both skilled, ideally taking their activity from the PG Discord server into Legion team chat, other people learning through them. I think that's a great point. I think I think PBJT is definitely a pick that Legion is likely going to be chasing. So let's throw him here.
And I think like let's say one team bids 70 and another team bids 80. Let's say Legion bids 80.
80.
And wins.
Okay. Yeah, I think that makes sense. All right, let's keep going. I'm having fun. And I think that the personality stuff is really interesting, right? We had kind of the first 2, which is just raw skill. Then we've got, well, who could pick up exit for cheap? Big personality, yada, yada, all the surrounding context. Chaos, I think, might make the most sense. So far, I like our predictions here as far as the logic kind of fits. Love Snow's interesting. If it's not Love Snow, I'm curious what Mick's thoughts are, but I think our logic there is pretty sound, right? Go down 6 players. That's your cutoff, right? You don't want
Hmm.
anyone better than your top 6 to be your waste money bid. Dexter, Unhinged is going to rebuild with that. PBJT, we've got the personalities of Pandor and Manadog, who I know is relatively active over there, or at least knows these guys.
Hmm.
Makes sense. Who's next?
So this is Chaos's bid, right?
This
Yeah.
is now, yeah, we're back at
Ozzy.
Chaos.
Let's go Ozzy
Ozzy.
because yeah. Um, so Ozzy is a value pick because he is switching to Zerg this season. He's not playing Terran, but
That's
he's friends
true.
with G5.
Or at least that's what he said. That's not
Yeah.
binding, by the way. He can say that all he wants. If he gets tired of it and wants to go Terran, there's no rule
Yeah.
saying he has to stay Zerg.
I feel like he'll probably stick to it, but who knows? Can't play the first couple weeks, so that's a little bit, you know, negative. But I feel like like you mentioned, I think G5 actually does want to cultivate a team of like, friends and people who are cool with each other. And I think Ozzy would fit in with that. So let's actually go for like a 60 or something. Let's say that he gets it. I
All
feel like
right.
Legion might still want to, throw their weight around. Legion are unhinged, but I guess let's just pretend that Chaos gets it.
Yeah, and right now, out of these players, only 2 of these have been on teams before, right? Like Exit was on
Yeah.
Unhinged, Ozzy was previously on Savage. In both those cases, like that's where Chaos is picking him up, right? So we were
I'm not
curious. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to like honestly, Ozzy might go for even more though because he does cast too, and yeah, that's like a big boon, especially if like mm, he might cast with G5, but I don't know if he'd cast with like Manadog or whoever.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I think your logic is sound here, right? Because that's my feeling. Like G5, he wants to make a cool team, right? He wants to be able to
Yeah.
bro out and like hang out with the guys, right? And the people he
Right.
knows. So this logic checks out. Um,
Uh-huh.
who's next?
So
If we go over here, we did
we
Dragon
have a
Ozzy.
bunch of
Wisconsin hasn't. Ivanox, Goose, Vahens.
yeah, so Vans is like a good player for sure, but also he didn't play at all last season, so captains might be a little wary of that. I don't know how active Sion is. Like, um, this is tough. There's actually like maybe Goose. I think Goose is like pretty well known in the community. He's very well liked. I don't think anyone hates Goose.
Everyone
So
loves
let's
Goose.
see Goose. Yeah, Goose is an awesome guy.
Yeah, I think he'll go early as well. I think this makes sense, and I think early in this is pretty much down to like pick 15. Like
Yeah,
the top X%. And this would be Savage, right? So I think that actually does fit well with Savage. Not only because everyone probably likes Goose, everyone knows Goose, but again, this isn't like top. I guess we've already kind of picked the top, but this is still a strong
yeah.
player. Maybe Mick would still be thinking, I want to keep my top 6. I don't know how long you do that for though. Like how many picks do you give up players that are worse than your top 6?
I think Mick is confident, right? Because he renewed almost everyone's contract.
Yeah.
And I think Goose maybe is still outside of our budget. I honestly think that he might even go for as high as like $30 to $40. I think he would go to either Unhinged or Legion.
I think so too. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Legion try to throw some cash down around here. So let's say Legion goes for Goose for 40. Now, I want to pause here. Well, actually, let's do a couple more because we're at 8. Let's get down to 10. And I want to look at the cash available because what's not happening here is the cash isn't burning very fast with what we're predicting is going to happen. Now, this might all get completely upended if Manadog does the 800 bid here, but I don't think that's going to happen. Um, but I imagine if anything's different than kind of what we're predicting, it's going to be these two. They might be a little higher, but I want to see what the wallets look like after a couple more. Okay, so we've burnt through Goose. I think the next ones that we kind of agreed on, my prediction is Wisconsin's going to show up. I think she got talked into signing up. Um, from reputation that I've known, like when she goes into something, she goes all in. Recently, that was like chess, right? And like just went super hard in chess. Came back to Brood War. She's now participating in brackets, right? Getting some
Mhm.
practice in. I think that she might be a good one. Ivanox as well.
Yeah,
Vahens, I think you're right though. The participation is a little sketchy. One game last season. That's not something you want to throw cash at.
yeah. Even though I'm saying all of this out loud, like I think Avaniox and Kim Jeffrey are going to be underrated.
Mm.
I think they're like solid high B, like low A players, but most captains are going to sleep on them. Um, I think Wai Cyan is probably a lot more well known, especially in this kind of like CPL kind of community. So I think she will potentially go for even more than Goose. She's really good. Yeah, so like I could even see her going for like 50 or 60, to be honest.
So
But
do we
yeah, it
think
all
that?
depends on like the vibes of how the bids are going, right?
Yeah.
I can see Wai Cyan being like the ninth pick here.
Okay. Let's go ahead and throw her up there. Let's I think Unhinged makes sense. We've given Legion Goose. Um Legion starting to maybe check their pocketbook a little bit. I know Man is probably going to have this entire pick list all the way from 1 to 54 listed out on what he wants. Um, so let's go ahead and give Wisconsin to Unhinged, and we think maybe a little bit more than Goose. So maybe 45 makes sense.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. After that, we've got Ivanox and Vahens that we've kind of kept an eye on. Want to do Ivanox next? I think that might make some sense.
I think a more fun pick would actually be Telecom because Telecom does have a reputation,
I don't think
you
Legion's going to
know.
nominate Telecom.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay, never mind. No, I agree. Legion won't move. Maybe Unhinged would. Um, Yeah, okay, let's go with Vaniox because I know Manadog is watching this. So,
All right, Iveniox. I think that makes sense. I think at this point in the draft, because I'm trying to contextualize all this, right? That's what makes this kind of fun. Legion is already sitting with the most picks. They're up to. Oh, I guess this isn't adding. I should probably change that. Um, but they've picked up 4 additional players, so they're already over the 20 and still very very rich. So what are we thinking for cost here? Because we are seeing the prices drop down pretty quick after our top 3.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how quick the cost will drop, but I feel like these mid-range players will probably because like Unhinged and Legion still have so much money, and even Chaos still has quite a bit. So I feel like these mid-range players are still going to be going for like 40 to 60 at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's going to be kind of the bulk, and then we're going to see a steep drop off. It goes in
Yeah.
chunks, right? It's going to be like the $100 players, the 50-ish dollar players, and then it's going to be a string of like $5 players until it's the ones. So we think in maybe another 45 or 50. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and give it 50. Let's do our last pick of the night. We did 10. I kind of want to do one more. Um,
Okay.
what what are we thinking Chaos will go for? Is there anyone else on this list that we think G5 is buddy with that would want to pick up, even if um I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat and I'm wondering what's going on with
Um,
Ozzy.
okay, I think actually Future. I think he might want Future because I know they're friends too.
Okay, let's throw Future in there because I think if there was a one of the captains that's going to kind of bounce around from the skill level, like I said, like the narrative in my head canon is that G5 has a good amount of skill. He's going to obviously try to pick the best team, but he's also going to pick the team that he thinks he's going to have the most fun with. So, okay, so he picks up Future. You said you knew Future. I forgot where we put
Yeah.
them.
So he's like let's say C
There
rank.
he is.
I don't
Okay.
think he's probably not going to be getting very active. Um, and he's friends with G. I feel like G5 might bid like 30 on him, and I don't think anyone else would bid much more than that. So I feel like 30 would be a good price.
Okay. Well, then let's take stock of where we're at and we'll let everyone go to bed. But we've got our first 11 picks, our kind of predictions with our little narratives that we came up in our head. based on how we think that these teams are going to bid. And obviously, the most interesting is up here, but the middle is also very, very powerful as we see over these seasons, season over season. Some of the best players, they're only going to be facing the other best players. And so their roster, their win rates may actually end up sucking a little bit. A lot of the wins, a lot of the bang for buck is at the very, very top, right? Like the G5, the Doodle, the Wolfixes of the world. And then that solid core in the middle. That's where a lot of these points
Mm-hmm.
are. But looking here, what got picked up? Savage picked up no one. And
Yeah.
I think that that's realistic. I don't think Savage is going to pick anyone up until like halfway through.
Yeah. I think we'll be lucky to get a couple like high C, low B picks. I really don't see us getting any of even like the higher like mid-range picks.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Chaos.
okay, to be honest, because our team is still really solid. But yeah, what scares me about this coming season is seeing what Legion turns into.
I think so. I think that's the big scary monster in the room right now. Like we mentioned when we did the team overviews, I think Legion is the scary team. They're going to go, they were second seed after first season, third seed, second season. I think that they have the potential to usurp Savage's throne if they do this right. Chaos, they're the ones that I'm worried about. They had that strong season 2, but they've already had captain shakeups, right? G5 coming in, not playing as well, right? One of the top performers from season 2, not playing. Um, and they don't have the most cash to throw around. So we see them in our predictions picking up 3 players, but I think the players that they picked up are really interesting. They pick up Exit, which we think is going to be a value pick, which I think can be an absolute powerhouse. If they get Exit for a moderate amount of cash or a cheap amount of cash because the other teams aren't going to bid high, that can pay enormous dividends, right? Like this would be huge for
Yeah,
Chaos. In fact,
yeah,
I'd be
totally agree.
surprised if this doesn't happen. I think we're onto something here with the psychology of this. Ozzy, I think going to Chaos, maybe, right? Ozzy will be in high demand, but he
Yeah,
does have the
Ozzy's
resignation on top of him.
he's going to be a toss-up for sure.
Yeah. And then Future and any other players that G5 is friends with that he wants, I think he'll be able to pick up for cheap. And Chaos isn't hurting on roster count, right? So as long as their count is active and he can upgrade some of the players that he has, I think they'll be okay. But if not, this might be a tough season for them. Now, Unhinged, the Ascension arc, this is their chance. Maybe not to win the whole season. I think still, even with the cash that they're bringing in, the fact that their roster is so small that they only have 10 players and so much cash is going to have to be spent just to ensure that they have that 20 player minimum and that those players are going to show up week after week. I don't know if they're going to be able to risk the high bids on these top players like we predicted, right? I think
Hmm.
even this, I wouldn't be shocked if Legion picks up. Like this one's a hard
If I were
win.
them, I would just try to get enough players so I don't like have walkovers every week.
Yeah, but you still got to get some good players too. So it's tricky. I do not envy Memnon going to this draft, even though the opportunity is there, right? And that's probably the
Yeah,
toughest part, like knowing you could actually win this draft. Um, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be the Unhinged Legion show, I think, when it comes to exciting picks. So right now, where we have them is we have them picking up Love Snow for cheap. I think this is good. I think it makes sense that Savage nominates Love Snow. I think that logic makes sense. Picking up Dexter, this one in my mind is a maybe, right? It's going to be very interesting because there's already going to be some experience after the first draft pick and the second draft pick of Unhinged and Legion going head to head. So they're going to kind of know where each other are at when it comes to how they're evaluating these players against the table. So let's just say Memnon picks up on it. He wants Dexter. He gets Dexter. I think that makes sense. And then picking up Wisconsin, getting another kind of hot player for relatively cheap, I think that's realistic.
hmm
I think that's a
definitely.
strong
Yeah,
start. That's a strong start for them.
yeah. I feel like this is pretty accurate. Like this is as accurate as prediction can go. I think we're
I
gonna see
mean, yeah,
something
we're
like this.
basically just shaking a magic 8 ball, right? We have no fucking clue what we're talking about, but this is still fun. And then we got Legion. Now this one, the numbers, I don't know. It really comes down to where they open up at. I wouldn't be shocked if the numbers start this high. I would be shocked if they went higher. Like I do not expect $200 to be thrown around. When we have kind of baseline players like the Doodle contract sitting at like 125, if you use
Yeah,
that as kind of a baseline or cheap for a really good player, maybe. Ozzy's saying he'd pay 200 for Dragon. It's tough,
yeah.
right?
I think
It's tough to
I,
gauge.
we'll have to see because I mean players are wildly overvalued in season two, and I feel like that burned enough to just not want to make that mistake again. So
Yeah,
I
and,
don't
and
think like Manadog worked so hard with all these casts to build up his funding, right? I don't think he wants to throw away that leverage so quickly.
but the thing is that he can, right? Like he's coming in with so much money that he could throw 300 at Dragon. I think what it's going to come down to is there's two different ways that the bidding is going to go. There's the way that we're kind of predicting that everyone is going towards longevity and thinking for the future, like future seasons beyond season 3. But there's completely a world out there where it longevity, go screw yourself. I want to win season 3. And they throw the money with zero intention of contract extensions, with zero intention of maintaining a budget after season 3, or unrealistic hopes of casting bucks and bracket bucks and stuff like that. I don't know if that's going to go that way. I think that it's more likely we see kind of what we're seeing, but there is a world where that happens and we start throwing out huge buckets of cash for these players.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too conservative here. Um, I think there are other besides just results. I feel like there are other things to consider. Like, for example, I would rate Ozzy very highly because he might cast. Um, and Goose like does all sorts of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just a good guy and he's like super active with like
Just fun to have on a team,
making
right?
graphics and yeah, like analyzing stuff. Yeah, there are all sorts of players who have like extra like intangible qualities, I guess,
Yeah, we
to
get some
add.
dank weed from Telecom. Like, there's
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, some
so
gooey
many
weed.
gooey weed. I've heard that's the good stuff. But anyway, so
Apparently.
even with our predictions here, um, and do crosswords. Keen will do crosswords with you too.
I love
Uh,
crosswords. Yeah.
I don't think that this is terribly inaccurate. I think when it comes to flexibility of how bidding is going and how the table is going to react, I think Legion holds the initiative here. I think Legion is going to be the pacer for how the bidding unfolds. Like if they open up expensive, these top players are going to go for expensive because people won't be able to risk it if those are the players they're going for. If Legion opens up around more reasonable prices like this, that sets the tone for the rest of the table. But I think all eyes are going to be on who has the most money, and right now that's going to be Manadog going into this. And I think there's a lot of power there, and I think that what we predicted here isn't unrealistic. Right, top two players, getting a couple that fit well on the team. PBJT, Goose, mix that with Pandora. You got yourself an active team if you can talk them into playing in the server.
Hmm.
Pick
Yeah.
up a tertiary one here with Ivaniox. I don't know. This looks scary. I think this confirms kind of what we were thinking, that Legion is very well positioned.
Yeah. Yeah. Legion is going to be the team to watch this season.
Then it just comes down to participation. Last season we saw a lot of burnout. We did take a little bit of a longer break, but I don't know. We'll see if everyone's recovered and is ready for this. Be a good time.
I'm looking
Uh
forward to the draft on Friday, man.
dude, I'm so
Oh,
excited. I'm gonna be in Canada, and I'm gonna be in the
oh shit.
Airbnb for the LAN that UPL is hosting.
Oh, that's
And
happening this weekend. Nice.
yeah, it's very very exciting. And I wanted to do it at UPL LAN so that maybe more people could participate, kind of be part of the event. And so they went and scheduled like a dinner during the draft. So I'll be in the Airbnb by myself doing the draft, and hopefully they'll bring back some Thai food. That'll be the plan for me.
Oh, that's so rude.
No, I'm just publicly giving them shit. It's on me for that. But I'm really excited for this draft. I think this is going to be huge. And with all the changes that this league has endured over the past couple of seasons, we're finally at a place where I think the rules are self-sustaining, right? I don't think we're going to see big rule changes, just different opportunities. One thing that actually came up, this is hot off the press from talking to the captains, is we're looking at having open trade window up until the end of round 4 in the round robin. So after
That
the
would be
draft,
cool. Yeah.
trades are permitted. Now there's a couple of small things we got to work through, right? Like currently in the rule set, there's player veto opportunities. That only works really well if the windows are short. And so it might be a series of windows like every week, but there's trades available through week 4. And I think that'll be fun. And then we close off trades. And for the second half of round robin in the finals brackets, you have what you have, right? But you can kind of gauge activity, injuries, burnout, and you can try to start moving those players around. Or you can even incorporate it into the draft. Like, hey, Mick, you don't got shit for money. What if I pick up Dragon and then week 1, I trade him for 3 of your players, right? Like, it opens up opportunities for those kind of negotiating.
Hmm. Definitely.
All right. Well, that's all I got, man. Like, I can't talk for longer than an hour and 40 minutes. Is there any other final
Yeah.
thoughts from you? I realize that I have to
No,
fix a
I'm
bunch of shit in this Excel sheet.
no, I'm good. I'm just once again, if you want to shout out, Indo did mention, make sure to mention the actual time. I'm sorry if you did it already and I just didn't hear it.
I
Um,
didn't. Yeah. I'll put
okay,
an event
yeah,
in the server. There's a couple factors that I'm kind of playing around. What I'm looking at is 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Eastern, so it'd be the same time that this podcast started on. God dang, Spa. That is distracting. Uh, I just really want
yeah, he
milk for
loves that
some
thing.
reason. Yeah, I mean it's hard not to. Um, but anyway, looking at like 9 p.m. on Friday.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
Well,
unless I
I'll be in the chat. I'll be
get
looking
caught up
forward
with
to
you.
it.
Yeah, it'll be a great time. We'll have a view party. I feel like in the seasons, the draft is the most hype part of the whole thing, and then like people just kind of play their games and wait for the next draft.
Yeah, everyone loves the draft.
Everyone loves the draft. Okay, so that's gonna be that for today. I'm gonna go ahead and throw us onto the big screen. I guess before I raid somebody, are there any questions from people that are watching? Yeah, just do the drafts and skip the games. There's been other recommendations of we should just do marbles. Yep, there it is. Marble the whole season. Yep, then do another draft. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Let's not even, yeah, we just gamble on marbles.
Yeah, we just gamble on marbles. Okay, cool. Well, if there's no questions, no comments, no concerns, whatever the case may be, let's go ahead and raid somebody. Let's look for some SCU adjacent players. Nightcat's doing Diablo again. Ivaniox. See? He
No
streams.
way.
Yeah, so I'm going to go
Oh
raid
yeah.
Ivaniox. If you're scouting for players, he's kind of one of those that I think is good, but I'm not entirely sure. Some people know him. I don't.
He's a
But
let's just call him a wild card regardless.
he's a wild card. So go ahead and go watch him. I think he's doing 2v2 fastest versus 2 BGH. Dude, his title is fucking insane. I don't even know what this means. But anyway,
Yeah.
we're gonna send you over there. I don't know who Pickle Juicer is, but we're gonna go watch Ivaniox. So that'll be ready in 10 seconds. This was fun, Keen. I look forward to
Yeah.
the draft, man.
Thanks for having me. See you on Friday.
Always. See ya.